This is the RIX Tactical RNV-31. Dual tubes under $6,000, and they're making serious waves in the night vision world. I've been running it in the real world, aka my backyard, my house, and at the range. And today I'm breaking down how it actually performs, where it struggles, and whether this should be your first set of night vision. Let's get into it. All right, guys, another Prepared American here today, and we are going to be going over my night vision loadout and the RNV-31s, how they performed. So first of all, I've got the Optical Vented Lux Liner Kit and the Worm Dial on a hardhead Veterans ballistic helmet with an Agilite bridge, Unity Spark red. This is the red one. I have an IR one as well. An Enforce weapon-mounted light that has white light and IR. And then a Princeton Tech red lens with two different intensities, with the Optical amps on the sides, and then adapters on the side as well to run all this stuff, because the hardhead Veteran one didn't come with that stock, and so this has had a bunch done to it. Obviously, it's been spray painted too. But yeah, so that's the helmet's loadout, and now we can kind of go ahead and dive into the actual night vision. All right, so take two of the box. Here she is, in all her glory. Yeah, nice. Woo! All right, comes with spec sheets, receipt. I'll post up pictures of the spec sheets for anyone who cares. Little instruction manuals, baggie full of like patches and stickers, because everyone loves those. These are like the 3D printed business cards I got from the dude who I got this set up from. I didn't get from RIX directly. So there's no like bias or anything like that. They don't know I exist. But I got it from a dude who owns Umbra Optics. I guess I dealt with Tyler, I'm pretty sure. But he was a nice guy, cut me a good deal, and I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's try these things out. So we got these guys here. So that is that stuff that comes in the box. And then you also get this cool little carrying case that has a clip there that you got to undo. It expands, so it gets bigger, so you can put like extra stuff in there, I guess. I don't know how much stuff you'd want to put in this guy, because the construction feels fine. It doesn't feel super durable, but feels good enough. Little padded pocket there, cleaning cloth. These little dudes, I can't remember what they're called, but they go on the user side of the eyepieces. Different dovetail adapters. Little extra light blockers to go in the front in case you lose these or you want to put extra ones in. Put those guys back in there so I don't lose them. And this case, like, I don't really use it for the nods themselves, because they're either attached or like stowed in a more rigid case. I have batteries in this compartment here for both my optics and for the night vision themselves. And then the night vision sit in this little pouch area here, which has some padding. It's not a ton, so like I wouldn't like try to send this through like TSA or anything, but it's definitely good enough for like throwing it in your car and using it to hold extra stuff, or putting these in here. All right, so the unit themselves weigh 500 grams, which is 17 ounces. I haven't weighed it myself to confirm that, but I'm not really that worried about it. I have a strong neck. But yeah, have a stronger neck. Don't cry about the weight. That being said, I don't have a counterweight on this helmet. It is a ballistic helmet, so it's heavy. But again, I don't care. I just have a strong neck. Whatever. It's not good for you long term. Wah. But no counterweight. I haven't noticed. I've worn it for like 4 to 5 hours. I think it's the longest I've worn these, and haven't noticed a significant problem of it moving around or feeling off balance, because I have this dialed on pretty good, the Optical worm dial. The manual gain is awesome. It's also the power on, power off. So you twist it to power on, twist it back till it clicks to power off. You hold the button to turn on the IR illuminator. It's a 850 nanometer illuminator. So it's decent. It works as well as most other IR illuminators that are built in, but it's also why I have an additional one here with my little throw lever to make it white light or IR. Gives me a little extra throw so I can see further away. And you haven't seen my light discipline video, watch it because you need it if you're gonna have night vision. It has the focus goes from like right here to infinity. About half of it is useless because you can see stars about halfway and then they go out of focus. So I don't know really what we're trying to see there. So far, I've used the AA battery is the only thing that I've used, and the website advertises 20 hours. I've gotten about 25 to 30, and then I swapped. It didn't die, but I just didn't want to risk it. RIX does offer a battery pack, which is proprietary to their unit, but it runs on two 18650 batteries, and they advertise 50 plus hours. I'd be curious to see how long that lasts. They were out of stock whenever I initially got this. So I don't know if it's one of those things that perpetually out of stock, can't get them, or what the deal with that is. My only worry with the illuminator would be draining the batteries faster, but I don't ever have it on because I have other illumination, or they just do well under low light, so I don't really need it when I'm outside. The eyepiece adjustments are fine. They're like anything else. It's like -2 to +4, or -4 to +2, whatever. I'm going to put up a sheet that shows all the stuff. And the IPD stops are super nice. You have to occasionally readjust them to get them to be where you need them to be. But really, I mean, again, you'll see at the end, the cost of this thing, like, it's hard to beat with the amount of features, not functions, features that it has. But yeah, it's awesome. Solid little unit. G24 interface standard, but it also has the adapters so you can run other stuff. And then I have an Amazon knockoff G24. I don't feel like shelling out $500 because I like saving money. And it's worked fine, honestly, so far. It's got a little bit of wiggle, so I occasionally have to readjust it while I'm like using it, or like in between matches, or in between rounds at a match or whatever. But it's not do or die. It's not a huge deal. But yeah, that's kind of the specs on the physical aspect of the unit. And now we'll go into some technical nerd specs and stuff as well. All right, so the tubes in this one are Gen 2 auto gating, and this model is the 1400 to 1600 FOM. FOM is figure of merit. And these come in on their website at $46.59, so well under $6,000. The 1800 to 2000 FOM model comes in at $66.99 on their website. You can get it other places for around $6,200. They also offer a green phos option because these are both white phos, so WP. The GP option, green phosphorus, not phosphorus, but green phos, is 1400 to 1600 FOM at $41.99. Dual tubes for $4,100. You can find them online for like $3,500 if they're on sale. These use an 18 millimeter image intensifier. And overall, the clarity on these things, it's so hard to beat. I have 0 blims in either unit and in both eyes. And I'll post up, short video, screenshot, whatever, of each lens. They look great. The clarity leaves a little to be desired, just because it can get a little noisy sometimes, especially with less illumination. But ultimately, you get what you pay for to an extent. But I mean, these things, they're killer. The bloom control and the flash resistance, it's kind of bad. So they're super susceptible to halos around any kind of visible light source or a bright IR light source. We saw the similar problem with the Jerry 31s, which is kind of what these are supposed to be improved upon. But there's lens flares with very bright lights. It's not as bad as I saw with the Jerry's from other people's point of view or their experience with it. But overall, I mean, it is. I mean, the second you look at any light source, I mean, it could be like lightning bugs or a porch light super far away. It's rough. Throws big halos, and it can be a little disorienting. But you just have to kind of get used to it a little bit and do your best to not look at it. That being said, whenever there's low illum nights or anything above 50%, it's so bright. It's better. It's the same as daylight. It's pretty awesome. The light transmission is great through these things. The clarity, like I said, leaves a little bit desired, but isn't too bad. And then in lower light settings, it's still easy to navigate outdoors. Obviously, when you go indoors though, and there's no ambient light, you can't see because analog night vision just increases the amount of light transferred through to your eyes using wizard technology inside. I'm not a wizard and I don't fully understand it, but I know that's the gist of it. When it comes to like any fogging or substantial, flickers or anything like that, I haven't seen any. I've seen a little bit of chromatic aberration around like really bright things. So like if I'm looking at a metal object, like a stainless object, sometimes that reflection from the IR will throw off some chromatic aberration, which is like a rainbow thing along the edge that distorts what you're seeing. But it's not too bad. Not enough that that it's like ruined using them for me. But yeah, like I said before, I use the G24 Amazon mount. They have other dovetail adapters. It feels well balanced. I've done like nighttime chores. I've gone for walks around my driveway, up the road, out in the field around my house. At nighttime, it's no real issue. It's not falling off or anything like that. It's not disconnecting when I walk or jog or when I ride my dirt bike, because I did ride my dirt bike with these and it was sick. I could see great. I could see deer, 400 yards out in the field because it was high loom night, and I had my weapon mounted light on, so that way I could see further ahead as well. And the other nice thing is, at least for my eyes, my eye protection that I wear, just my clear eye pro, they put the lenses at the perfect spot and hold them super tight, so that way there's no wiggle at all, so it holds it really well. I've already said before, but the mount does have a little bit of wiggle to it, but whatever. I spent $80 and figured an airsoft mount would be fine, and surprise, it's mostly fine. I'm not, invading Baghdad or anything, so I'll be all right probably. When it comes to any bloom or issues using like IR illuminators or aiming passively through night vision, I use my EOTech EXPS 3, and so it has night vision settings, and I've shot passively through that, and it does great. It puts it right where I need it. My mount is high enough. It's not this high, but it's high enough where I can just aim normally, have a normal head position. And then whenever I do use an IR illuminator or laser, it doesn't turn into a blob, as long as I have my illuminator turned down, which I learned at the last night match is important, because if I'm aiming at a target, this big, and my laser is too bright, I cannot see it. So you live and you learn. That's why we do these things. I did notice at the last competition when I was shooting the pistol, unsuppressed regular Glock 17. Oh my, it was bright. It was blinding. I mean, it would white out my nods every shot. But what I found out was that if I used my white light and turned up the brightness on my dot, I could see my dot perfectly fine. I wouldn't disorient me, and I could shoot faster like I normally would, and not have to like shoot blind. It's nice to not go blind every single shot. So who's this for? Who would benefit from having one of these? Honestly, everybody. I would love if everyone had night vision, but obviously not everyone has at least $4,000 to shell out. So with that being said, when it comes from a civilian defense perspective, these are great for training and being prepared on a budget, especially if you're more serious about being ready for nighttime operations. It's nighttime half the time. And so that's why I advocate for having white lights on rifles at the very least. It's the easiest, cheapest way to see in the dark is to have a flashlight. But if you have the money, get these. I mean, you could get a bump helmet for $300, an Amazon mount for $80, and these guys for $4,000, and you have dual tube night vision for under $5,000. That being said, I don't know how well these would hold up to the rigors of like real combat, and I don't feel like flying to a war zone to find out, even though there's plenty around to see. I don't want to do that because I love my family. So we'll just have to leave it up to training conditions. Whenever you're doing any kind of like rural reconnaissance or from a patrolling point of view, it does really well in wide open fields and forests, stuff like that, wooded areas. It makes navigation easy. Even whenever you only have 40% illume or around that range, you can still see perfectly fine, and it doesn't throw off your depth perception a whole lot. I haven't eaten it yet. while wearing them, so that's a positive sign. It's been a few years since I seriously wore night vision. I mean, it was the Marine Corps was the last time, and that's been 6 years since I got out, which is crazy to say, but it's true. It's been 6 years since I got out of the Marines. If you're looking at using these in like a team capacity or with friends or at a competition, you have to be aware of that high bloom, the halos from light sources. As long as your team has good light discipline, again, watch the light discipline video. It's boring, but it's important. You need it. You should be fine if you have that good light discipline and you don't have illuminators that are ungodly bright. You don't want to blind people with your passive light that's just hanging out on your head. I definitely want to do more team stuff, more competitions, doing one this weekend. So we'll see how it goes and how much I improved from last time because I learned a lot already. Last competition, they did great. And hopefully this weekend we'll see how refined my whole setup has become and see how well it does. I mean, we'll have some interesting stages, I'm sure. Andrew will have some treats out there for us. And we'll see if I truly do own the night. All right, so the thing that made everyone click on this video, night vision for under $6,000. Again, the lowest price point for green FOS, 1400 to 1600 FOM, so not super high, but good enough for your average bear. Comparing these to a set of DTNVSs from Tactical Night Vision Company, you're looking at $7,500 for a set that's 1800 to 2000 FOM. The RNVGs, which is the ruggedized night vision, goes for $799, so $8,000 for a set of 1800 to 2000, when these ones were at $6,500. So it's $1,500 more, and I don't know about you, but I like to save money where I can. Is this a good first night vision introduction option? Yes, it's an awesome entry price for dual tubes for someone who is a beginner to intermediate. You're not losing out on so much if you are at that level. It's just not that big of a deal for most people. Now, if you're running operations or doing like super cool tactical stuff, or you're law enforcement or something like that, obviously you want something more rugged. And so that could justify that cost. I don't know how well these will hold up with time. And the only way to do that is to use them more. And that's what I plan on doing. I currently have around 40 hours with this unit. It's been almost a year and I use it almost every night. Even if it's just around the house in my underwear, clearing their house and nods and everyone's in bed. I don't care. Repetitions are repetitions. And I love to use them. Seeing at night is awesome. It's a superpower. It makes everyone laugh and smile when they put them on for the first time. So if anything, you're buying a little bit of happiness. It's fun. The real trade-offs compared to more expensive night vision options is going to be your customer service experience and having the ability to hand select tubes. There's tons, and by tons, I mean I can think of like 2 or 3 awesome American companies that exist that allow you to hand select tubes. Nocturnality, Steel Industries, Tactical Night Vision Company. I haven't known anyone that's personally worked with them, but the first 2 I have. So I haven't had to contact RIX directly, but they are active on social media, which is a good sign that they have like marketing and they have people who post for them and go to SHOT Show. And so they have a presence in America, which is nice because that means you'll get better customer service. You're not going to get Rajesh on the phone. No shade to any Rajeshes that watch. I doubt I have any, but if I do, no shade. It's just, the first name I thought of. I don't know why. So their customer service could be good. I have no idea. I also haven't had to contact them because I haven't had any issues. The only thing that they advertise that these do not do, unless I'm dumb and haven't figured it out, they advertise the automatic shutoff when you flip them up like this, or whenever you rotate them up to here. Mine don't do that. Mine do not turn off automatically. So that's one thing I could maybe contact them about. They tell me I'm dumb. Maybe I'll do that and do a short to reply to this guy. But I do know that Nocturnality and Steel Industries are super good dudes from people that, and I've heard this secondhand, so not directly from me, but dudes that I trust a lot and I would trust with my life have told me great things about Nocturnality and Steel Industries. Other than the customer service perspective, you'll also get better long-range clarity and target ID, which is super important if you're trying to see past, 150, 200 yards. in different lighting environments. And if you want less lens flare and light bloom / like halos, you don't get that with the higher end night vision. I'm just being honest. You know, if you have a set of like Harris L3 tubes, or, you know, the highest, best stuff you can get, you're not going to have that same bloom or the lens flares. It's just the way the glass is made. It's Chinese glass. It is what it is. But it boils down to, would I trust this for my home defense / defending the homeland? Yes. If this is what you have to see in the dark, I mean, night vision, it's mandatory almost. It is almost mandatory now to have night vision and thermal. The world is evolving, combat is changing, and the final verdict on this is, if you're serious about training under night vision and don't want to drop 5 figures, the RNV-31 might be the most practical dual tube option out there. If you're willing to work around those few trade-offs that I mentioned, again, possibly whatever customer service, again, I don't know for sure. Maybe I'll get to talk to him after this and get some, you know, talk to him, get to know some people, you know, whatever. And then the blooms and the low clarity, like whatever, if you can look past that stuff and realize you're getting the ability to see in the dark for $4,000, that's awesome. And finally, with everything that I just said being said, you can find good deals on single tube night vision for under the price of this unit. You can find good deal on like maybe a slightly blimmed tube or whatever for $1,800 to $2,400. That's not bad at all. And again, for most people, a monocular performs just fine. I mean, most use case scenarios, they can be found at a less intimidating price, and they're just as useful. I mean, being able to see in the dark with one eye is better than no eyes. I personally believe we shouldn't cripple ourselves with debt to get night vision or any piece of gear. You shouldn't spend, you know, to pull out a personal loan or whatever to do these things. You should save accordingly and be a good steward of your resources, because that's what preparedness is all about. It's about being responsible for the future and taking out, you know, spending $12,000 on a credit card to get night vision. While it'll be cool in the moment and feel good then, you hate yourself when you're paying that off for forever. If you have the money, great. If you don't, save accordingly. You know, again, get a white light, get some cheaper night vision you can mount on a weapon, then get a cheaper thermal you can mount on that weapon, sell that night vision. That's what my journey has been. My journey has just been upgrading and selling and trading up and doing all these things to justify the cost of stuff like this. But yeah, that's my review. Is it worth it? Yes. The too long didn't read version. Is it worth it? Yes, I believe so. Find out for yourself. Again, no affiliation with RIX Tactical. They seem like perfectly fine people, I guess. I don't know. I've never talked to them. Maybe I will in the future. But let me know if you want me to follow up with like training drills for night vision, what I've been doing to get prepared for competitions, or if you want to more in-depth review of like my helmet setup or the ops core amps or whatever. You know, if you see something you like, let me know in the comments. Comment, subscribe. I said comments 3 times now. Like, comment, subscribe, do the things. Let me know what setups you guys would like to see. I do have friends that have DTNVGs. I don't know if they'd let me borrow them, probably not, but maybe I could use them for a day. But yeah, overall, thanks for watching. I appreciate you guys. Stay hydrated, stay strapped, and stay blessed, guys. I'm going to get some dinner. Thank you.